when you ask me why I must be successful, I say very simply, because failure is not an option. 27 words, one simple idea, a vision set forth for the explicit purpose of giving my 7th and 8th graders an identity that they can claim as their own. Now my name is Ahmed Ahmed, and I'm a Teach for America alum. And I know it sounds crazy to say that because I remember 2 years ago, I was sitting in this very auditorium, in these very seats, ready to embark on the very journey that you all are getting ready to start. Now today is about being transformational. We tap into our collective ability and our collective potential in order to convey this to our students. Today is about what we're able to do in order to reach our students. Today is tapping into that potential because we do not have the luxury to not tap into that potential. Today is about making one day happen. Now, we got a couple of different regions represented in this room here today. And it is my esteemed pleasure and honor in order to welcome our Institute staff, our community members, and of course, the incoming 2012 Teach for America Corps! You all represent various regions throughout the United States. And first, we have representatives of the DC, Bay Area, and Eastern North Carolina region. Please join me in welcoming them. Our neighboring state to the north, we have representatives of our South Carolina region. Let's see if you guys can do more. Let's see if the next group can do better. To our south, we have representatives of the Greater New Orleans Corps. Let's hear it. Last but not least, can I shout you guys out first? Can I do that first? Okay, give me a second, okay. Last but not least, representing the great state of Georgia, we have representatives of the Metro Atlanta region. To remember that we are the embodiment of excellence, full of untapped potential that we have yet to realize. And why must we be successful? Because failure is not an option. Welcome to the Institute. I was going to say, oh, here we go. I was about to say welcoming ceremony, right? Welcome to the opening of the welcoming ceremonies of the 2012 Atlanta Institute. Welcome, everybody.
I wanted to do something that was going to make a meaningful difference. I have become very focused over time on this issue of, what we now call educational inequity. And I realized in a group of people who were saying, wait, we really didn't know that there was such a huge need for teachers in urban and rural areas. We would teach. And I just immediately thought, this would have such a huge importance and make such a huge difference in our country. This issue of educational inequity is certainly among our biggest problems as a country. As a result, we think we should do everything we can to inspire and support our country's future leaders to take this problem on. We've seen over time that experience of teaching successfully in this context is just completely foundational for a lifetime of educational leadership and advocacy. And ultimately, we're trying to build a force of leaders who will work at every level of our education system, who just understand more deeply both the nature of the problem and the fact that it is solvable, and who have real insight about what the solution needs to look like.
I am a 2001 Newark, New Jersey alum, and as a core member, the insights I gained was just what's really possible with kids when you're able to really put them on a different academic and personal trajectory. And now, as an alum, I taught 4th grade, and my kids are now in college. And so to be able to have Aaliyah or Kabira Facebook me and tell me about their experiences and tell me about what they want to do, that is a constant reminder that when we are able to make the types of academic and personal things that we are talking about, it is really giving them a different type of option for them personally and for their families.
I think my greatest asset in my first 2 years was my inexperience. As someone without really the experience to do what I was trying to do, I was very driven to find supporters and help.
As core members, you drive your own development. You are a leader in this work, and each individual core member has different types of assets and different areas of growth and development, and that you have to really get in touch with what you need and when you need it. Simultaneously with that, the teacher leadership development team will be thrilled at the staff member is going to be that person who reminds you of what is possible and helps you say, I can do this too. And they will also be there to love and challenge and care for you as well.
I think about the incoming core members with so much leadership potential, and I know I joined just the thousands of people who have come before and say we cannot wait to learn from you and to work with you as we go forth in this fight.
We are welcoming the next generation of movement builders, and that I truly believe that in this work, the more we actually increase the number of movement builders, the closer we're going to get to one day.
Every core member holds within their hands the potential to make a life-changing impact. The next 2 years will absolutely ensure that they do live a life of meaning.
Welcome to Atlanta. Let's try that again. Welcome to the city of Atlanta. I would say it's a good-looking crowd in here, but I'm actually blinded by the lights, so I want to be completely honest with you. No, make some noise, guys. Welcome to Atlanta. My name is Courtney English. I was a 2007 member of the Atlanta Corps. 5 years ago, 5 very, very short years ago, I sat way up there in the back because I got here kind of late, where you sat as a bright-eyed incoming Corps member. That was 5 years ago. Today, I sit as the youngest serving member of the Atlanta Public Schools Board of Education. Thank you. You know, I sat there where you guys are sitting now, and I considered, wow, what does all of this mean in the context of this city, in the context of the fight for educational equity? I sat there as a proud graduate of Morehouse College. You'll hear more about that in 2 seconds. And welcome to Atlanta. You're in a city. You're in a state that determines how many kids or how many prisons it's going to build based off of third-grade reading scores. Welcome to the city of Atlanta, a city or a school system, rather, that trails the state of Georgia by 7 to 8 points in math and reading every single year. The state of Georgia is 48th in the nation in education, and the nation that's 25th in the world. Welcome to Atlanta. Welcome to Atlanta, where we boast a meager 51% graduation rate, which actually seems pretty good when you compare to a 35% graduation rate for African-American males. Welcome to Atlanta. Welcome to Atlanta, where 10% of the kids in the Atlanta public school system drop out every single year. 5,000 children drop out of school in this city alone every single year. Welcome to Atlanta. Welcome to Atlanta in 2009, the year I got elected. The school system boasted the National Superintendent of the Year, the School Board of the Year, the School Board Member of the Year, and was characterized by many as a prime example for urban education reform. That same year, we discovered that Atlanta was the home of the largest cheating scandal in American history, where tens and thousands of children over the course of a decade were cheating out of their right to a quality education. Welcome to Atlanta. Now, if I haven't lost you by now, because some of you guys are sitting there saying, what have I gotten myself into? I need to go ahead and call up Google or Facebook and see if I can take this other job. There's good news. Atlanta is a city that was once burned to the ground, but was rebuilt as the crown jewel of the South. Welcome to Atlanta. Atlanta is a city that, while its southern neighbors clutched to the ideals of segregation and discrimination, Atlanta cried out in one voice and said, we are a city too busy to hate. We elected our first African-American mayor, Maynard Holbrook Jackson, also a Morehouse man. Welcome to Atlanta. Welcome to Atlanta, home of the world's busiest airport, home of the 1996 Olympic Games. Welcome to Atlanta. Welcome to the home of the Reverend Joseph Lowry, Ambassador Andrew Young, and Congressman John Lewis, titans of the modern civil rights movement. And yes, welcome to Atlanta, home, birthplace of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Also a Morehouse man. Welcome to Atlanta. But as you sit here, consider Atlanta the birthplace of the modern civil rights movement, and consider the role that education plays as an extension of that very same fight. Welcome, I say, to Atlanta. You guys, as educators, are now a tip of the sword. Whether you are only here for a summer, or whether you will fulfill your full 2-year commitment to teach for America in the city of Atlanta. You guys are the tip of the sword. This is our civil rights movement. You guys are the first and the last line of defense in the fight for educational equity. Welcome to Atlanta. Welcome to the fight. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is David Jernigan, and I'm honored to be with you this evening as you embark on your Teach for America journey. When deciding what to share this evening, I thought back to my own institute experience in Houston 12 years ago as a 2000 Atlanta Corps member. And I distinctly remember sitting in a room that looked like this at the University of Houston, mentally preparing for the infamous institute experience. By the end of welcoming ceremonies, I was inspired, I was charged up, and I was ready to skip the training, jump in my car, and drive to Atlanta. Because there were kids in Atlanta who needed me, and there wasn't a moment to waste. Fortunately, I had friends who reminded me I hadn't actually been trained yet, and just as importantly, that there was critical work to be done in Houston that summer. The need in Houston quickly became apparent
when 20 pair of eyes greeted me and my 3 fellow corps members on the first day of teaching 5th grade at Thompson Elementary School. After seeing our diagnostic scores, the task seemed daunting, as many of our students were grade levels behind. I knew our students required that we prepare diligently to fill every possible gap we could. I'd like to sit up here today and suggest that we closed all those gaps in 5 weeks, that all of our kids went off to college, but the truth is we likely only chipped away at those gaps that summer. I left Houston knowing that closing the achievement gap would be a marathon, not a sprint, and would require a lot of people working together. But for at least one student that summer, I have no doubt that we made a profound impact. Michael came to us as a non-reader in 5th grade. We were told that he had a reading disability, and we couldn't help but wonder what Michael had been doing in school over the last 6 years. What became evident pretty quickly is that Michael lacked the confidence to even attempt basic sight words, and pushing him to sound out words was out of the question, because that's what 1st graders do, he told us. But we were determined that our summer with Michael would not be in vain. So we devised a plan between the 4 of us that involved intense, individualized reading support for Michael. We decided that getting Michael to capture his own story in the form of a book might inspire him to become invested in the words that reflect his very identity. The painstaking process produced what seemed to be a work of art in Michael's eyes. To this day, I will never forget walking to Michael's house after school to share the book with Michael and his family. As his siblings circled around and Michael beamed with pride, reading every word of his story in his living room that day. We witnessed this confidence rise up in Michael that we had not seen all summer. And it became clear to each of us that our collective effort had left an indelible mark on Michael. Now, I'm not suggesting that we were able to get Michael reading on grade level that summer, but I am certain that we used every minute we had been provided to push Michael beyond what he thought was possible. That experience with Michael and many others throughout this journey taught me that every minute in the lives of our students is precious. As an Atlanta Corps member, I constantly felt that time was my biggest enemy. There simply weren't enough hours in the school day, not enough days in the week, and not enough weeks in the school year to get my students to fulfill their potential. That never-ending frustration is actually what ultimately led me to a career with KIPP. My colleagues at KIPP and I believe that if we're going to truly close the achievement gap, we've got to roll up our sleeves and just put in some extra hours. Over the last decade, I've dedicated my life to providing our students in Atlanta with more time in school. And I now oversee a network of 6 KIPP schools here in Atlanta. This fall, we'll have 1,600 KIPPsters in Atlanta who will commit to 10-hour school days and 3 extra weeks during the summer. I've seen firsthand the power of more time in school, which is why I'm thrilled that you guys are going to be providing that opportunity to our students this summer in Atlanta. Summer is typically a time when student learning is lost, and each of you has the opportunity to extend student learning starting next week. When I made the decision to make a long-term commitment to the kids of Atlanta, I did so with a very clear understanding that success wasn't going to be measured by incremental gains in test scores. Our kids deserve much more than mastering a few more academic standards. They deserve what alumni, Corps members, and many other folks who are committed to this work believe, that literally changing the life trajectory of the students throughout the city is necessary. So as you begin your Institute experience, I want to challenge you that your commitment to closing the achievement gap begins right here in Atlanta, whether or not this is your placement site or not. Whether you're teaching elementary, middle, or high school, I can assure you that there are thousands of Michaels in Atlanta. Their individual learning gaps may not look like Michael's, and their lack of confidence may manifest itself in different ways. But the students who will soon be gathered in your classrooms across Atlanta this summer need the very best from each of you. I wish you all the best, and thank you.
Hello, new teachers. My name is James Atkins III, and I have the distinct honor of bringing you greetings from all students in Atlanta Public Schools. It is with great pleasure that I am here before you today. I heard you will be teaching summer school this summer. I know it is only a month long, but I also know that teachers have been the core to my foundation of learning. And a lot can happen within a month. One example is when I was a junior, preparing for the ACT. It was almost the end of the semester in a class called Study Skills, with a Teach for America teacher by the name of Mr. David Hart. My classmates and I approached Mr. Hardin with concerns about the ACT, and he took those concerns in stride. At first, we were all hesitant because he immediately told us that he had never took the ACT before. He told us that the test was as new to him as it was to us, causing us to look at each other with a deep concern and a lack of confidence in his own abilities. Nevertheless, Mr. Hardin worked every day with us, diligently preparing us with lesson plans and classroom assignments. He gave us warm-ups and catalysts, brain teasers and quizzes, closures and exit tickets. There were so many activities to do that by the time the test came around, we felt like pros. When the results were finally in, we all did well. I myself received a 21, which is average. But I refused to settle for mediocrity. I sought out further assistance from Mr. Hardin after the class was over. And sure enough, he was there to assist me after school hours. This instilled in me a mentality of success, causing me to receive a new ACT score of 25. I wanted to share this story with you all today as a testament to hard work, hands-on activities, and the consistent reminder that students need someone to really show a concern for their education. Mr. Hardin was very adamant about us learning, and he would do anything necessary to make sure we got it. If that meant going to YouTube videos or acting out the material, he would do it. To Mr. Hardin, I owe him a lot of thanks. Because of his recommendation, I received the Gates Millennium Scholarship. That I have attained well over $1.5 million in scholarship funds. This fall, I will be attending Morehouse College and Georgia Tech as a dual degree student. CFA teachers, before I end, I also wanted to make sure that you also have some fun this summer. Go see the Georgia Aquarium, which happens to be the world's largest. Head up north to Centennial Olympic Park, the Woodruff's Art Museum, or the Botanical Gardens. Have fun. You are in the place known as Hotlanta, where the weather is very, very unpredictable. Hot one moment and rainy the next. No matter how hot it gets, just remember, you are making the world a better place. Thank you.
I was a 2003 Metro Atlanta Corps member. Thank you. And I get to serve as your Institute Director for the 2012 Atlanta Summer Institute. Thank you. I serve alongside four amazing and brilliant women. They are sitting here on the front row. Erin, Diana, Lily, and Anais. If you see them, be nice to them, say hello. Their full-time job is to prepare for something that happens in 5 weeks. So if you can imagine, if you have to work all year long for something that only lasts 5 weeks, it's a lot of work. So be nice to them. I stand here today in my 8th institute. I haven't been a Corps member 8 times. I came once as a Corps member and then 7 times in different staff roles. But this is my 8th institute, which is about 350 or so nights sleeping on an extra long mattress post-graduation. About 350 plus times eating in a cafeteria on a college campus. Try out the stir-fry bar, it's pretty good. But it's also my 8th time being in this room at this moment for welcoming ceremonies. And so we've heard so far from Courtney, who's helped us to learn a little bit about the Atlanta context. I think David and James, in their own way, showed a little bit about what can happen in such a short period of time. And so now it's my turn to give you a charge for the summer. And this charge is meant for Corps members, for staff members, for our full-time staff members, etc. And this charge is supposed to propel us through the summer and be our driving force. So as I was planning for this moment, I was thinking to myself, you know, what do I say to a Corps member who is thinking about all the stories you've heard of Institute and wondering, what is it really like? I know. And then there are some staff members, we have some of our community partners here, likely wondering, like, we've been planning for months and months and months, what's gonna really happen? And so as I thought about each of these different roles and all the different places where we're sitting right now, mentally, emotionally, etc., it all came back to one message. And it's profound, trust me. Here it is. One day, all children in this nation will have an excellent education. Now I know somebody here is thinking, is she serious? How unoriginal can she be? I know, it's okay. I anticipated it. Just hear me out. At some point, each of us read this statement, heard this statement, and we decided that we were going to use our talents, our influence, and our passion towards working towards this vision. It's the one message that unites us all. It binds us. It drove each of us to this room at this very moment. It's the vision that each of us have adopted as our own, so why shouldn't we keep it top of mind this summer? Why should that not be our driving force? Let me break it down. Here's the first part. One day. Every single day in your classrooms this summer is one day for your students. Now, as adults, we have the opportunity to go in, have a bad day, come back again tomorrow, and try again. Our students don't get that same opportunity. They don't get to go back and redo every day. Each day is an opportunity for them to either be pushed dramatically forward, held dramatically back, or to be stuck in a standstill. So one day for us can't be so far in the distant future that we lose sight of the tenacity and the urgency with which we need to work in order to get there. Every single day this summer, every single person in this room should be aggressively ensuring that one day happens every single day for each of our summer school students. There's no need to wait for the proverbial one day, because one day is every day. Here's the second part. All children in this nation. Now, I'm originally from Texas, raised by my grandma. And my grandmother would always say something to me when I was eating my meal. She would say, Lanisha, if you put it on your plate, you need to eat all of it. And if I ever left any morsel of food on my plate, she would kneel down, get real close to my ear, and she would whisper to me, Lanisha, all means all. And then I would quickly eat the rest of my food. So that's what I have to say to you today. Like, all literally means all. It means that we're not working just to become the best teachers or to train the best teachers that we're going to teach someday when we encounter them in the fall. It means that every single day we're challenging ourselves to be the best teachers and train the best teachers for all of our students, which means that we are training ourselves and we are trying to be the best for every single student that we serve this summer. Every single one. All of our students, every single last one of them deserve this. They are waiting for us to become those transformational leaders that will lead them towards academic and personal growth this summer. All includes Tori, who's going to be at Douglas this summer. All includes my neighbor, Dejanay, who's going to be at Brown this summer. All literally means all. They all need you. Take care of them. Be committed to them. They are beautiful, they are brilliant, they are smart, and they are waiting on you to be committed to all of them this summer. So everyone again, all means what? All. All right, there we go. Here's the last part. We'll have the opportunity to attain an excellent education. Now this is the part that gets me every time. So we've all had that moment at some point. We had to tell someone about the Institute. You know, I've had to give my speech several times, and I say the whole, you know, best and the brightest core, highly selective, committing to serve, 2 years, summer school students, novice teachers, and that's when it gets really awkward. So every single time in the middle of my speech, I get this dropped jaw reaction, and I get this response of like, wait, you mean to tell me that you take a group of inexperienced teachers, most of whom are fresh out of college, and you put them in front of children who need dramatic academic growth? And as I think about that, I just look at them and just, you know, nod my head and be like, yep, that's exactly what we do. That's exactly right. And as I think about it, I'm just like, that is exactly what we do. So if we're saying on one hand that every single student deserves an excellent education, and on the other hand, we're saying that we're expecting novice teachers to do it, that means we've got a lot of hard work to do. And that is exactly what we're going to be doing this summer. So each one of us, staff members, core members alike, we're here because we're leaders. We are here because we are change makers. Each of us has a profound history of remarkable accomplishments, and that should and cannot end once we get into the front of a classroom. Each one of us has to bring that same drive, that same ambition, that same relentless pursuit that got each of us in this room right now, and ensure that each of our students every single day this summer are engaged in meaningful learning that will have lasting implications. Each of us needs to make it our goal that our students will have a summer they will never forget and an enduring experience that we create for them. So one day, all children in this nation will have the opportunity to attain an excellent education. That's what we should remember when we face obstacles this summer. That's what should give us energy in the late nights. That's why we're all here. So one day is every single day this summer. We have to work towards making one day happen today. And it's going to be hard. And in those hard moments, we'll need to pull on each other. We'll need to lean on our core values, challenge, support each other, so that one day can happen each and every day for each and every one of our students. We're trying to do something that's really hard this summer. We are telling our parents, we're telling our community that every student will have an excellent summer. And we are entrusting you with that responsibility. We're here to support you, we're here to hold you up, we're here to encourage you along the way. So the charge is simple, the time is now. Let's make one day happen today. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ms. Smith.
And I'm
we have some advice for all of you new teachers out there.
For a first-year teacher, they should be confident in themselves and be strict.
Always hold high expectations.
I would say be real. Show those kids how much you care.
Stay positive, encourage students to do their best, and accomplish something in life.
For every lesson you want to teach them, and they will teach you just as many.
As a teacher, you should know yourself and be yourself.
Be confident in what you're speaking about or teaching, and have a lot of patience.
Get to know your students, their older and younger siblings, and their parents and guardians as much as possible. I'm very close to Janai's family, her big brother Kevin, and that's really helped me build great relationships with them. Janai, what's your advice for some new teachers?
My advice for some new teachers is to tell your students to keep going, work hard, so you can reach to the top.
And my advice for you is that if you're not feeling confident, fake it.
Always watch out for pranks, tricks, and anything that happens.
And always stay positive. When you're positive, that gets everyone else excited.
What else should a new teacher do? What do you want your teacher to do for me?
I want my teacher to help me spend our time with.
And have them understand that they can make a difference and that they can be college ready.
Make sure you get some sleep because those kids will eat you alive otherwise.
Choose your one non-negotiable that makes you happy. So if that's watching TV or reading a book, make sure you do that every night.
With each new day, new adventure, you're going to learn something new. So just believing in the journey and that ultimately with all the ups and downs, you will get to your final destination.
Let's tell them good luck. Good luck!
You guys look so excited to see me again. Make every moment count. Now, over the course of my 2 years in the classroom, this is probably one of the most important lessons that I actually learned. I'm going to say it again. Make every moment count. Did that listen? Out of practice? Y'all learned about that, don't worry. Make every moment count. On the first day of my first year in the classroom, Wesley walked into my room. Now, little did I know, but Wesley would go on to change my life. He doesn't know this, but he's actually in the audience today. I didn't expect this, needless to say, from the energetic, talkative, overly rambunctious, highly intelligent collection of unactualized potential that everyone saw him as. Really what that means to most teachers is that he's that kid where you're like, I really can't handle you right now, I need you to go somewhere else that's not here. Now, that place that's not here often ended up being my classroom. And despite all these things might have been true about Wesley, in his eyes, I saw myself. Growing up in urban America, held to low expectations, crippled and victimized by academic deficiencies, seemingly having no future and no potential, Wesley and I shared a common story. And because we shared a common story, I knew in my heart of hearts that unless I did something for Wesley now, unless I did something urgently, unless I did something drastically, he would fall victim to a future that he had no choice in deciding. So I grew to know him. I grew to respect him. I grew to admire him. I grew to care about him. I grew to love him. And I grew to ensure that I was personally responsible for his future. Rudyard Kipling once wrote a poem, and it's actually called If. And, oh yeah, I like that. Now the poem is really long, and I know all of it, but I'm not going to bore you with it. So I'm going to start with like the last portion that really sticks out and is pertinent to what we're talking about today. And it goes like this. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, yet walk with kings nor lose the common touch. If neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, and here's the moment in the poem where I stopped. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, And what that meant to me was that in that minute that you will never get back, in those 60 seconds, if as opposed to giving up, you fill it with every ability that you have to run as fast as you can and as hard as you can, the poem ends like this. Yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. Now with that, as I look out into this audience today, I don't see that little boy that I met 2 years ago. I see a young man. And that young man that you see right there, he feels every opportunity for 60 seconds, every minute that he has, with every bit of ability, he has to run as hard and as fast as he can. And because of that, he takes it upon himself to make one day happen for him every day. You guys can clap for him, he's very... And with that, my charge to you is this. Run. Run. Run and make one day happen today. Because we have a population of kids out there who need you to do just that. Kids like Wesley, who need you to make one day happen today with that same sense of urgency that he has in absolutely everything he chooses to do leading up to the future that he has decided for himself. So run. Run and make one day happen today. Because we here as this institute in Atlanta are going to make one day happen. We are going to make one day happen. When? This is your charge. Welcome to Atlanta Institute. We make